Yeah, so check this out. You don't actually need a flight school. You can skip the flight school. You need a certificated flight instructor and you need an airplane. And flight schools do provide that, but you can skip the flight school. You can go directly to an independent flight instructor. And you can go directly to a private plane owner. You can set up a lease agreement with them. The most simple goal of the DIY flight training program is to
Engine instruments green. Airspeed alive.
you'd find at a flight school. And that's up for debate. And I'm not like criminalizing flight schools. They have their time and place. And, I've been to structured flight schools. I'm an advocate in a lot of ways, but I think it's really useful to understand the alternative methods of flight training that are available to you. When you have that concept in your head, it's just going to be way easier to plan and put together whatever the best method of flight training is for you. So I'm just going to walk you through top to bottom how you might go about DIY flight training. All right, so here's what I'm going to do first. Let's just pull up a random US city. Let's see what we got. What would be good? Tucson, St. Paul, Albuquerque, San Diego. All right, let's do Akron, Ohio. That'll be good. First, let's look for independent CFI, Akron. Yeah, no, these are flight school websites. We have 50 new. All right, no, this is bullshit. No, get out of here. I don't know what the hell this is, but that's not what we're looking for. Flight schools, we got more flight schools here. Here, let's go to Facebook, find your local flight instructor. Yeah, so right here is a Facebook group. And I would go ahead and just make a post, That would be the easiest way to do it, but you can search. Let's just type in Ohio and see if we get anything. Oh, let's see. Hey folks, I'm a CFII with access to 3 different planes, charging $50 an hour. And the planes are, look at that. This is good stuff right here. Posted January 13th. This is exactly what we're looking for. Oh yeah, this is ideal. Look at message. Boom. Click message, and then you ask whatever questions you have. Hey, are you available for a phone call? Can I talk to you? I have some questions. I'm so confused. I don't know anything about this. I just saw that you're a flight instructor and you're in my area. Would you be willing to have a conversation real quick? I swear this person is going to give you better information than the flight school. The flight school, well, they're both going to be trying to sell you stuff. They're both going to be trying to talk you into stuff. But the flight school is going to have a professional marketer talking on the phone, convincing you to give them tens of thousands of dollars. And this flight instructor, I mean, they definitely want to get in the plane with you. Like it is in their best interest, but it's just, to me, it's easier to talk to a real individual instead of talking to a company. You know what I mean? So right there in 60 seconds, we've already come across one great opportunity. And this person just posted, what's today? So they just posted 12 days ago. Right there, first result. And then here's another post from 15 days ago. I'm a double I located in Northeast Ohio, willing to travel. Completely free to message and see if anything comes of it, at least get some information. This guy says, DM me. Cool. Go ahead. DM them. Their inbox is open. Hit them up. Look at this. Looking for an instructor in Northeast Ohio. 28 comments. Hi there. I'm a CFI in New Philadelphia, Ohio. I've got two 172s and a Piper. Hey, you should look at this flight school. There's a flying club out of Elyria, however you say that. I'm a CFII. There's a lot of great people that instruct out of there. Yes, message that person and ask them questions. That person is an instructor, and they know lots of great instructors that operate out of there. And they're talking about a flying club. Flying club, cheaper than flight school. Flight school charges a lot for their planes. Flying club is a cooperative agreement where everyone becomes a member by contributing funds, and you can fly at a discounted rate. And they have instructors. I don't know if that's the best place for you to do flight training, but you have to contact that person and ask. If you're just going to Google search results or, in contacting the first 3 flight schools that have the highest ratings, you're not getting enough information. You're only talking to one little snapshot of flight instruction. Talk to these humans, and this is how you find them, okay? Look at, howdy, I'm a CFII at 1-5 Golf out of Wadsworth. Yes, talk to this person. This was just posted 8 weeks ago. All these people are current. They're active in Northeast Ohio right now. Hey, bro, did you find a CFI? I'm still available. Yeah, that's not how you pick up a student, bud. So this is perfect. This is just an example of how, and I don't know, maybe these flight instructors are not in your town. Maybe they're a long ways away and they're not willing to travel to come to you, or you're not willing to travel to come to them. That's fine. But the point is, you can message these people, because I bet they know a dozen flight instructors around the state. Like, this is a small world. People know each other. Contact these people, message them, and get to know them. Talk to them. They will give you help. They will seriously give you help. More help than a flight school. And then as you start to talk to these people, you can ask them for advice. Where do I find a plane? Do you have any ideas? Do you know anyone that has a plane? What recommendation for flight clubs do you have? All right, let's dive in here. Nice. Look at this post right here. Anyone know a good place to rent an aircraft out of Columbus? I want to help a friend get their PPL. So that's great. This person is a flight instructor and they want to help their friend get a PPL. Do you want to help me get my PPL too? Well, even if you don't want to be my flight instructor, can you help get me some information? I would really appreciate it. All right, let's hop on this Facebook group and take a look. Let's go to Ohio. That's where we're shopping around for the time being. All right, 3 weeks ago, this person says, I have a 1969 Cherokee. I purchased the plane to save money time building and would love to help others build time without having to sell a kidney. If you are in the area, feel free to reach out and we can talk about cost. That's what I'm talking about. Dual VORs. Awesome. This is good stuff. Here's a post. Someone out of Cincinnati. Looks like they were an ATP student. And now this guy is a CFI and he's offering to give people instruction. The thing is, I'm willing to bet this guy doesn't have access to an airplane and he's not going to know how to come up with an airplane. So what he's kind of advertising is like, hey, if you got an airplane, I'll come be your instructor. The way you would do that is you would probably join a flight club and then you would have access to these planes. You would go to the flight club, You'd give them your credit card. You'd set up you would schedule the plane, reserve the plane, and then you would have to list your flight instructor that would be coming with you to make that a legit rental because you don't have your pilot's license. And that's how you would team up with an independent flight instructor and get into a plane like that. Hey, I'm an experienced CFI looking to see if any students would like to fly towards earning their PPL or commercial or Columbus, Ohio area. It will be $30 an hour for the instruction and $165 an hour wet. Wet means that includes fuel. So you don't have to pay for fuel. It's just $165 per hour. Just reach out, message this person and say, hey, what's up? Look at this post, Columbus, Ohio. Now this person's saying $80 an hour wet for time building. The thing about time building is this situation, you are sharing the cost pro rata. That means the individual that's posting this is not going to receive compensation for the flight. So that might mean that they can't provide you legal flight instruction in the plane. You are sharing the cost of the plane, and so nobody is being compensated for it. However, this person is a flight instructor, so it would be worth messaging them and saying, hey, how would it work for me to do some flight training with you? And again, this kind of stuff, this is not a fixed price, you know. This is negotiable. You can say, hey, could we bring the price down a little bit if if maybe I'll pay up front, for 100 hours or something, or 50 hours, whatever you could afford. Worth talking to them. Now I want to show you guys another option here. Fly with Trent CFI directory. If you watch a lot of aviation YouTube, you might know who Trent Deersmith is. He's a YouTuber. Channel's called Fly with Trent. He's building a network of independent flight instructors. And I think it's small at this point in time, but it'll probably be growing because it's relatively new. And the reason why he's putting this together, when he was a flight instructor, he was an independent flight instructor. And he provided instruction to clients from all over the country. They would travel to him and pay him to be their flight instructor. And so he was not affiliated with a flight school. He never worked for a flight school. He worked for himself. And I imagine he provided pretty high quality flight instruction. The guy is quite professional. There you go. We said we were looking in Ohio, so let's stick with that. Filter by state. Okay, and in this directory, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 instructors that have listed themselves here. Click on their profile, take a look around, do a little research, and then boom, contact right there. So that's just another source of where you might be able to find a flight instructor to help you out with this. So basically, if you're going to set this up, this is going to be Part 61 flight training. There's two types of flight training, Part 141, Part 61. The standards set by the FAA are a little bit different. I'm not going to get into those details right now. Some flight training can look like college, where you have a school with classrooms that you attend. You might be sitting with a group while an instructor gives a ground lesson at the whiteboard. And that could be Part 141 or Part 61. That's like an academy style flight instruction. ATP is set up like that, but they are Part 61. Lots of other big popular nationwide flight schools are set up like that, but they usually operate 141. And then if you are going to do more of this DIY style training, that is always Part 61. Some people like that classroom setting. They like that structure. They like the syllabus. This is what you're doing on Monday, Tuesday through Friday. Here's your schedule. Here's how it's going to go. That can be really helpful to have that structure. But the flexibility that comes with this DIY style is perfect for someone like me. I work various jobs. I have weird schedules. I don't have very much money. I'm trying to find flexibility in my training program. And the easiest, most comfortable way to do that, I believe, is to find an independent flight instructor that can kind of serve as a mentor to you. And it can be hard to find someone like that. You might be messaging people and you don't know their reputation when you first message them. It's not like they have a Google reviews with 560 5-star reviews or something. Like you're just talking to random strangers that you find online, but it never hurts to send that message or set up a phone call. Meet in person for coffee or something. There could be a substantial difference in cost if you do DIY flight training. Flight schools, especially big flight schools, fall victim to the same issue as public universities. Administration costs a lot. The operating costs of a flight school are a lot. They have a lot to manage. They have office employees. They have offices that they have to rent. A lot of overhead costs in running that stuff. And so they're going to be charging a little bit more. Their planes cost a little bit more. Their instructors cost a little bit more. If you go to a flight school, you're going to be paying $70 an hour for instruction. And your instructor is going to be earning 50% of that. $35 an hour is what your flight instructor gets in their pocket. So where's the rest of the money go? Yeah, overhead cost of running the frickin' school. And that's fine. Schools have their own benefits to them. There's going to be some reliability. There's going to be some trustworthiness. They're going to be set up efficiently. How many students have they pumped through their school? Hundreds? So they kind of have it down. If you're going to an independent flight instructor, they've only had a few students ever in their life. Yeah, they might not have it dialed in quite as much. But that can be a benefit in its own. Some flight schools, big, popular, expensive flight schools, get a reputation and a label as being a pilot mill. They accept your money and they're pumping out pilots as fast as they can. And if you're not cutting it, you're out. Because they want to keep their statistics looking good. 100% employment rate within the first 6 months of graduating. But that means they need to cull the herd. If you don't meet your stage checks on the timeline, you're cut from the program. And the instructors you find there, some of them could be exceptional, great instructors. Some of them could just be there. They're just trying to make a little bit of money while they fill up their logbooks, and then they're the hell out of there. They might not be as invested in their students. Not all flight instructors by any means. I've met very quality flight instructors at some of the big box flight schools. I happen to know a few. They're great instructors. But to me, I would feel more optimistic about going to a private individual that I found online, communicating through text or phone call, and just having real conversations human to human. And you can build trust there and really see kind of what their motives and what their agenda is. What are they looking for? I think in some cases that independent flight instructor might be more driven to provide a deep and personal experience and to really just be a little more invested in you, helping you through the whole process. And another thing, you can kind of mix both of these strategies together, a DIY strategy with an academy style. For example, ATP requires you to have your private pilot's license before you join the program. In that case, you could do your private pilot training with an independent instructor. And then you could ask for their advice. Hey, I'm thinking about going to an academy to finish up the rest of my training. You can have part of your training be Part 61 and other ratings be Part 141. You can switch back and forth. But I think a lot of times when you get committed to one of those academies, you're financially wrapped up in the system, and I think it can be challenging to exit the system before completing. So I touched on it briefly. I think this is for the individual that likes flexibility and they're a little more into a self-driven path. Because I know there are some people that like the classroom, they like the structure, they want the syllabus for the entire program. But for me, I really appreciate that flexibility and kind of being able to do it my way. The most simple goal of the DIY flight training program is to check the boxes on the checklist. Make sure all requirements are met to be eligible for your private pilot check ride, which is an evaluation from an FAA examiner. And to be eligible for that exam, you just need to check the boxes on the ACS. I hope this makes a little bit of sense. I know that when I was researching becoming a pilot, and even after I got my private pilot's license, I didn't realize how good of an option it could be to just contact an independent flight instructor. Thanks for taking a look. I hope this helps you out. If you have any questions, in addition to reaching out to some CFIs you find on the internet, you can reach out to me too and just ask for some advice. I know this isn't going to be crystal clear after watching this quick little video that I put together. And so if you had any additional questions, I'd be happy to talk you through. This is a confusing process. This is a wild process. It's not like going to four-year university straight out of high school. This is a different kind of path. And it's not that straightforward. The big flight academies are going to offer you a very simple path. But is it the best path? I don't know. So it could be worth looking at your alternatives. If you'd like some assistance in doing that, hit me up, please. My contact info is right here in the description. All right, thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.